There are 10 million cancer survivors living in the U.S. today. For the first time in 30 years, funding was cut to the National Cancer Institute in 2006. It's time to make cancer a national priority. In May, the Lance Armstrong Foundation kicked off an initiative to unite people in the fight against cancer and end needless death and suffering from the disease. Across the country and across the internet, the LiveStrong Army is growing, and we're finally starting to make some noise. LiveStrong! 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 LiveStrong!
We're back in Iowa for the first ever LiveStrong Presidential Cancer Forum, broadcast live by MSNBC. We invited all the candidates from both the Democratic and Republican sides to go on record with their plans for fighting this disease. Cancer still kills more than 560,000 Americans each year, and it's time for our leaders to answer your questions on the subject.
What are your feelings about prevention of cancer?
What would you do if a poor person has cancer?
How you would address the disparities in cancer research.
Why are we decreasing money for cancer research when this is a fight we can actually win?
Cancer is a nonpartisan issue, and every American is impacted by the disease. It kills more people every year than things like terrorism or global warming, and yet it hasn't been part of the last presidential debates and presidential elections. Lance and the foundation are here to make sure the next president makes this a national priority. Let's check it out and see what the candidates have to say.
Is the fight against cancer a national priority under your presidency?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
It would be obviously a huge priority for me as president.
I will not only declare war on cancer, I will declare war on cancer before it kills us.
So you would be in favor of the FDA regulating tobacco?
Why is there a different standard?
Little to no improvement.
Deny people coverage.
I want to talk a little bit about funding.
Where are you going to choose to cut the spending?
By far and away the biggest killer.
I think everybody here was impressed with that, but let me ask you a question.
A lot of people don't think their government works for them anymore. They've given up hope. What a way to change that if we took on cancer and deaths by cancer.
I want to double both the National Institutes of Health and the National Cancer Institute budgets. We need a smarter approach to prevention and early detection. Every insurer should be required to pay for mammograms and PSAs and colorectal screenings, things that will save lives.
I mean, the most critical thing for us to do is to turn loose these young, creative researchers and allow them to run in an open field. And that means we're going to have to be willing to take some risk, and there's some cost associated with taking risks. So if you decide on the front end that you're going to be conservative in what research you fund, it's self-limiting.
The fact that we're engaging in this conversation tells us that there are a lot of people in this country who are finally beginning to realize that if we would spend some money on the front end, not only preventing and researching, we would spend a lot less money on the backside of treating people at the catastrophic level.
African Americans and Latinos have higher rates of mortality because they don't have accessibility. Under my program, they'll have accessibility. They won't have to worry about the money. What you said yesterday, Lance, people should get the care they need without worried about whether they can afford it or not. Chris, that's the system that I'm proposing.
I mean, we went to the moon. John F. Kennedy, I remember. We're going to go to the moon in 10 years. Why don't we have a similar plan that we will conquer cancer? Maybe it'll take a little longer. But let's have that goal as a leadership in this country.
We pushed hard this week to get cancer on the radar of the presidential candidates. We heard some great responses about prevention, healthcare, budget cuts, and even more so, we heard some great commitments. If you didn't see your favorite candidate on this stage, send them an email and let them know that there are more than 10 million cancer survivors in this country, the LiveStrong Army is growing, and we want to hear from them. We hope to see you soon at the LiveStrong Challenge.
Forward this to 5 friends and unite at livestrongarmy.org.